Hey there YouTube, Arbiner69 here, and today I'm going to have a look at Vase Mode printing on the CTC 3D printer. Now I have seen various other people printing in Vase Mode on their printers, and I wanted to see how well my CTC 3D printer handled it. Now those who are familiar know that the printer I've got is a MakerBot clone, it's a lot cheaper, so I wanted to see how well mine churned out these Vase Mode prints compared to others that I have seen. Now all the models that I'll be showing you in this video are not mine. They are produced by other people, they are free to download on Thingiverse, and I'll pop all the details down below for the models in the video description. So let's jump over to Simplify 3D and have a look at what Vase Mode actually is. Right, here we are in Simplify 3D. Now the first thing we need to do is import our model. This is the Rocket Verns 2 model of Thingiverse. Like I said, all the file descriptions and details are down below if you want to check it out yourself. The reason I chose this model is I've seen other people print it, seen the results they've come out with, so I have a baseline for comparison. Also, the height of this model fills the build area that I can use on my printer. As you can see, we've got a ridge around the centre, and we've also got a bit of overhang on these. It's not very complex, so it should be a good challenge. How to enable Vase Mode? Well, we go into Edit Settings, go into Layer, and at the bottom here you can see Single Outline Corkscrew Printing Mode, Vase Mode. Once that's set, it ignores all things like infill, support material, other bits and pieces. So be warned, you cannot use infill with Vase Mode and you can't use support material with Vase Mode. So you do have to be somewhat careful which model you select to print. Now that we've got that done, we'll go to Prepare Print, and here is our model readily sliced. So if we wind this back a little bit and hit play, now you can see the print head moving. So essentially what Vase Mode is, as you can see, the print head moves round the model in a continuous circle, never stopping and starting and never moving to a new position. Whereas a normal print, it'll print a bit here, it'll stop, it'll jump over, print somewhere else, it'll jump back, print somewhere else. This one doesn't, it continually spools on the same area. It doesn't move, it does move, it doesn't jump from point to point, I should say. So essentially if you were to be able to print this and then unravel the model into one long line, you would get one long continuous run of filament. So there we go, a model print all the way up to the top. There we are. So all you need to do now is save disk and print. The other thing I wanted to try was see how far I could push Vase Mode printing. This is a fairly simple model. I did also run this, a fractal pyramid. As you can see, this is a lot more complex, and I wanted to see if the printer could handle this in Vase Mode. Again, the details for this file are down in the description details below if you want to check it out. None of these models are mine. So we've got Vase Mode selected. Yep, there we are. So we go Prepare Print, and this is where I was expecting it to kick out errors. But lo and behold, it reckoned 1 hour 16 minutes to print this model, and it is possible in Vase Mode. So if we wind back to say here, oops, and get a decent view, if we hit play, it's very slow. But you can see it's working round, it's not actually stopping here, starting over here, stopping there, starting over here, jumping around the model. It's printing in one continuous line. And I was quite surprised that the slicing software was able to do this for such a complex model, but it seemed to be able to do it. So if we wind it on, you can see all the funky patterns build up, and you can see the patterns sort of repeat themselves as it builds the model higher and higher until we get right to the top. And if you look underneath, there we are, that's the model. So, everybody likes a time lapse, so let's have a quick time lapse of both these models printing on my printer. Right, as you might be able to work out from watching that quick time lapse there, the rocket printed far better than the pyramid did. The prime reason for that was I had the cooling fan taken off the print head so I could get a better view of the actual pyramid printing, with it being quite a small model. Now, one flaw I found with the printer I have is it doesn't do overhangs very well at all without cooling enabled. So once it got to a point where it was printing overhangs in the pyramid, the filament wasn't setting hard enough and it was tending to sag down and droop. So we'll have a closer look at the models, but bear in mind the pyramid is a bit of a failure, but the principle was there and it did work. So let's have a closer look at these two models. So there's the two models all printed. First we'll have a look at the rocket. I'll move this one out of the way for now. So there we are. That is the Vase 2 rocket printed in Vase Mode, and it is completely hollow. And as you might be able to see, it's printed the ridges quite nicely. The only issue we had was, if the camera can pick this up or not, there's a bit of a Z shift on the lower levels here, especially on here as well. I assume that's because the tape holding the glass bed down moved, but it's easy fix at least. It's not a problem with the actual print or the slice. That was a problem with the hardware itself. But there we are. That is the Vase rocket printed in Vase Mode, and it turned out really, really well. I'm quite impressed with that. Now then, onto the pyramid. Here's the pyramid. You can see it's completely hollow. There is no base to it apart from the lines for the edges of the Vase Mode. But you can see at the top here it's got a bit of stringing, and if we turn the model round, we can see places here where the filament started to sag, and then really badly on the back part of the model. And if we flip it up, you can see inside there's a bit of droop to the filament, and that's all because the cooling fan wasn't enabled. Also, the bed might have not been 100% level. I need to run another print to test this, but that is definitely a symptom of the cooling fan not being enabled. But that essentially is the fractal pyramid printed in Vase Mode, and it managed it. Give it its due. There was a bit of an issue with it, but the model actually printed, and I was really, really surprised at that. So there we are. There are the two models I printed in Vase Mode. So that's a quick look at Vase Mode printing on my CTC 3D printer. Like I said, I do enjoy printing in Vase Mode. As you said, you can get large prints printed very, very quickly. Don't use much filament. Yes, there's not much strength to the actual print itself, but if you say fast prototyping and you want to just make sure a part fits and you can Vase Mode print it, it's a quick way to do it before you start printing the full model that may take several hours with infill support, etc. It's just a quick win. So there we are. That is Vase Mode printing on my CTC 3D printer. Do me a favour, if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but please let us know what you thought of the video in the comments below. And also, if you can mash that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel, helps out immensely. Until next time, take care.